everyone, and welcome back to Jedi Eternal. My name is Andrew Boland, and this is my third time starting this intro, and I'm getting a little tired of it.
I don't know what kind of gremlin comes in and changes our settings every single time.
Dude, I swear. There's like some kind of like either demonic
evil presence
that lives in my computer, or a gremlin, or maybe even like a Toy Story scenario where my Funko Pops are like jumping off the walls and like they're like rolling around on the keyboard.
They're all in boxes, so they're freaking out trying to get out, and they're like hitting on the keyboard and everything.
It's like all my game boards come to life. All the pieces from my game boards are coming out, and they're like jumping on everything.
There's some evil stuff there.
There's a lot of evil presence going on in here. But anyways, it took 3 attempts, but here we are, and I believe we are now. Everything is working properly. So give yourselves a hand. Yay! But I'm here with Get Her Done, Braxton Taylor, and I don't even want to explain it this time. We already explained it before. So
it's not even nearly as funny now. We've explained it like 2 times now.
It's just that's what you should call him for the next week is Get Her Done.
Yeah, there's I want to say a funny story. It's really not that funny now that we said it like 2 times in a row. But long story short, I have a car shirt on that says GTR, and I thought it said Get Her.
It looks like done. Get Her, and so I looked at the back of his shirt. It didn't say done. So then,
we had a really nice organic intro.
Yeah, it's just not funny anymore.
Okay, sorry, I got thrown off here. There's a random dog in his room. I don't.
Yeah. Well, so that's just another dog that we end up keeping sometimes.
Oh, really? I've never seen that dog before in my life. So.
It's Tara's parents' dog.
Oh. Well, I just see this dog come up to me and like jumps up on me, and I'm like, I've never seen this dog in my life.
Yeah, but anyways, we hope you're all doing well. We just recently had our Lego Star Wars Episode 2 finally released. We guys lied to you over and over again about that.
Inadvertently, right?
Sorry,
we didn't mean to do it.
No, we didn't mean to lie to you, but we did lie to you like over and over again about that releasing. But guess what? It actually has released. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Facebook, whichever one is your preference. You can watch that there. Check those out. And we're going to try to stay a little more on it. So with that being said, our next episode of that, episode 3, should be out next week.
Yeah.
So stick around for those. If you like it, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know that too, because honestly, we don't want to do it if you guys don't like it.
Exactly. So. It's more work for us, you know.
We'd honestly just rather you tell us if you don't like something. So, but you can catch our episodes, our Jedi Eternal episodes, and our Let's Play episodes, of course, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. But however, you can also catch it early, usually up to 2 days early. You can catch that on our Patreon. And on our Patreon, we have one other very special thing about our Patreon, and that is that we have an exclusive podcast that only airs on our Patreon. So only if you pay the $5 to be a Jedi Eternal patron can you have this podcast. And this last one we did was I thought was pretty fun. I think we had a pretty good time with it. And we talked about a lot of stuff. We actually went into our personal hobbies and things we enjoyed doing, but we also talked about phase like 4 through 6 of the MCU because of the recent announcements. So a lot of fun stuff we talked about in that. You had something you wanted to say?
I was just going to say, I promise we're not egotistical at all. We would never talk about us and our lives and stuff, but that was by request of Josh and Birkinshaw, who is one of our producers, and that kind of segues into this next part, which is if you become a producer and become of that part of our Patreon, you actually get to help us decide what content we put out there, and you get to decide what subjects we talk about. If there's a thing that you want to suggest that we do or don't do, that's something you absolutely can do as a producer. And we obviously listen to critiques or anything from anybody, right? Of course. But as a producer, you get that little extra push in our ear there because you're very special to us and you give us money. So
Yes, so that is a big thing. But of course, we also do our shout outs to our patrons, and we're going to do that right now.
Oh, yeah.
So starting with JB, Joshua Birkinshaw, thank you so much for being a patron producer of Jedi Eternal. Also, we have Tara Bolin, my wonderful, beautiful wife. Thank you so much for being and spending my money on... no, I'm just kidding. It's her money, too. I'm just kidding. She's going to beat me up later.
Paying dividends.
I'm kidding. She doesn't beat me. I'm just all a joke.
I've seen the bruises. Just kidding.
Grace and David Gill, thank you so much. You guys are the best. And also Alex Mason. I just saw Alex Mason this past weekend.
Whoa.
I did. And let's just say we had a very intense Phase 10 match, and
Phase 10.
I think he may have left crying. That's all I'm gonna say. He may.
I mean, we're not gonna say for sure.
It's
right?
like I think he was trying to blink back tears as we walked away, and I was like,
it stings.
Should I check on him?
It
Should
stings.
I? I didn't though. I just left.
No,
so.
absolutely not.
And also we want to thank Jay Camdar. Thank you so much, Jay Camdar, for being a patron producer. And last but certainly not least, even though she has never listened to our podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jenna Evans, for supporting us. Again, she has never, ever listened to any of our podcasts, but we still thank you for the $5. Anyways.
Nice.
If you guys want to join on that, we would absolutely love to have you a part of that. Love to have your input on the future of Jedi Eternal. Much, much more to come as we get ever closer to Andor. There's a lot of exciting things on the way, and we're going to talk a lot about Andor as we jump into our news. Actually, we're going to spend some time here and talk to you guys about the new Andor trailer that has released, because here's the thing, since our last Jedi Eternal episode, the Andor trailer's released, so maybe it's not necessarily new to you guys, but we still wanted to give our input and our thoughts on the trailer because we had not recorded since then. So that's kind of the first thing we're going to discuss here in our news section. And so, Braxton, first, I just want to see what your thoughts were on the trailer. Before we go into any more of a breakdown, just what are your initial thoughts when you saw this trailer?
Well, I thought that it was actually pretty cool. I mean, again, this is something we've talked about on the podcast before. I was not very excited for a very, very, very long time about Andor. Not that I inherently thought it was going to be bad or anything like that, but it's about characters I just really didn't care about. And secondarily, to kind of add to that, is that Andor was the very first show that was ever announced, right? It was the very first show even before Mando, right? And here we are finally getting it now. Like 3 years later.
Yeah.
So my lack of desire to have it anyways, on top of it being pushed back several times, it did not make me want to watch it. But I will say, after this newest trailer, I have to admit it has piqued my interest. A, it's Star Wars, so I'm going to watch it anyway, regardless, right? Yeah. But B, it truly has piqued my interest because as a Disney Plus show, this is like one of the most cinematic Disney Plus. I can't say shows yet because I haven't seen it, but the trailer at least, it looks incredibly cinematic. This looks like movie quality. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the Disney Plus shows have been near movie qualities, like Mando season 2 was, and Kenobi and stuff. But you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's just it looked very cinematically directed. And again, it could very possibly just be great marketing team over the trailer, but it definitely piqued my interest. And yeah, I just think it looked good, and we're going to get more into it. I have more to say, but,
Okay, so it looks like we're about on the same page here. As you guys who have listened to us know, both of us have expressed our disinterest, I guess, in Andor. It's never really been too exciting to us as far as all of the announced shows have went. We're like, okay, cool, we'll check it out when it comes out. Whatever. But yes, this trailer has very quickly changed my take on this.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, it's only a trailer, and I want to preface that before as we get into all of this, it's only a trailer, and trailers have let us down before.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. I know and understand. Just because a trailer might be good does not mean the finished product will be as good as the trailer, but. From the trailer, I have to say, this is the best looking Disney Plus series from Star Wars that we've gotten yet, based on the trailer. I am really, really impressed with what we see here, and I think I know what the difference is. First of all, I think that they're trying to stick with what we got out of Rogue One, right? Which is that very
definitely
grounded, almost like gritty look to everything, right? Like Rogue One did, which I loved Rogue One.
Right.
Rogue One, cinematography, everything about Rogue One is just out of.
There's some crazy shots, like, and not even just talking necessarily about the content of the movie, but like in terms of like some of the shots that they get was just mind-blowing.
I would say it's the best Disney movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like the only thing that keeps me from saying it may be my favorite out of the Disney Star Wars movies is that it doesn't have like Jedi and stuff like that I really love about Star Wars.
As many of you know is our affinity.
Right.
You know?
Like we love anything to do with the Jedi and stuff. Rogue One didn't really have that. But as far as like, if I were to say, okay, well, which one is just all around the best packaged Star Wars movie that Disney has created? And I would have to say it's Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, and so, this is a prequel to Rogue One essentially. And so, but what I think here we're seeing is, so the Mandalorian and Kenobi, the Book of Boba Fett, all three of those series were made using what they call the wow, I totally just forgot what it's called. What is it called? The technology that they're using, the stage that they have. What do they call that? The volume. The volume.
I knew it was like one word. Yeah.
Yeah. They're using the volume. Okay. An outstanding an outstanding piece of technology that has forever changed the way that they can make movies and stuff, right?
Truly.
And it's been fantastic. It's allowed for them to make things faster.
Oh yeah.
It's allowed for the actors even to kind of be more and feel like they're in it.
Exactly.
And anyways, so I have no issues with the volume. I love it. I want to make that clear before I say my next statement with all this is I love the volume. I think it's fantastic. I think they should continue to use it. However, this series is not using the volume. This series is using practical stages. They're actually going on site to all these places.
Oh wow.
Everything is built, they're doing all that stuff like they used to do.
Yeah. So I mean, basically the tactics you'd use for a movie, like an actual film, you know.
And so, yes, this did take a lot longer to make. We've been hearing about this show. They've been filming this show for a long time. And part of the reason it's taken so long to film is because they've actually been going on site to different locations all over the world to film this movie.
Yeah.
The series. And so that takes time.
Sure.
It's not, they can't go, okay, well, let's go into essentially our large warehouse that has super high technology and you can
bring 12 people there and all of a
sudden you're in a whole nother world. They can't do that with this. Now, of course, the cons to that is it does take a lot longer, but you cannot deny the obvious beauty that we're seeing because because they're using these natural backdrops and they're using this. Everything's built and there in real life, and you cannot deny it does make a difference.
And that's what I was about to say. It's not even just the way it looks, right? Because they can look, you can literally be on Tatooine in the stinking volume, right? But it's even more about the feel. You know what I'm saying? There's an organic nature to it that really draws you in, and it makes you feel like, I don't know, like I said, authenticity, I guess, is it maybe a word that you could use, is that it feels authentic, because you're actually there,
Right.
And I do feel like that does come through in the filming.
Yeah, well, and a lot of times when you're watching, Kenobi, you're watching The Mandalorian, all these things, it's usually like you don't really think, oh, this looks bad. It actually looks pretty good. But when you compare it next to what we're getting from this, you're going, all of a sudden it's like, oh, there is something in my mind triggering, oh, I do actually notice a difference. And so anyways, high praises for the cinematography of all
Absolutely.
of this, but let's kind of just break it down here, going into the trailer a little deeper. So we start with we see what appears to be like on some kind of world that apparently doesn't have a whole lot going on for it, right? It seems to be mostly like
derelict.
Yeah. And we see the like, are they? I think they even have like bows. Am I correct with that?
Accidentally closed out of my tabs, so I'm trying to get back to it, but
maybe not. I can't tell. It almost looks like some of them have like bow and arrows on their back or something, but maybe
it could.
Not.
Well, I mean, as we know very quickly. Wait, hold on. I know this one person has like a staff, like a.
Yeah. Well, and then after that, we do see a big Star Destroyer. And then we do see what appears to be some like carriers, which is very reminiscent of the like Clone Wars carriers, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, again, they're in that transition phase to some degree, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
and it kind of looks like they're about to attack this village. So I'm not sure why, or what that really means for us. But we see a supervisor come in with some other people here. We see I don't know who this woman's name is, but she's got her hands held up like they're about to shoot her.
Well,
And so this all kind of appears to be the same place. And we know the story or the series is structured in 4 arcs of 3 episodes each, right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine what we're seeing here is a lot of what we'll see in the first arc.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Right. I would say the later arcs we've probably not seen hardly anything of, if any of it at all. Which is so exciting that we're getting so many episodes. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm really excited about that. So from there, let's see, what else do we got? We do see Diego, and I think her name's Adria.
I don't know, honestly.
But they look like they kind of want to kiss or something.
Whoa. That is a little too much for me.
And then we see him like sneaking around. Let's see. So,
in-depth analysis here. So he's walking around.
I know.
I mean, here's the thing, folks. At the end of the day, there isn't a ton to go over because that's kind of what they're trying to do, right? They're just trying to give you a flavor of what you're going to expect.
I will say, I seen it does show the watchtower, right? Or maybe it doesn't show the watchtower in this, but I've seen the watchtower in the teaser trailer that they showed at Celebration. Whoa. Which was not the same trailer we got here. It was completely different, actually. Huh. So that's
interesting. Yeah.
But they had a guy that like was playing the drums up there on this thing, and it was interesting. But
it is interesting.
Let's see what else. What other interesting things can we see here?
We do get Saw Gerrera later on. I mean that's pretty obvious, yes. Right? But
yes, we do see Saw Gerrera, so of course we're going to get more of him, which I think is cool. Something interesting that I do want to point out before that, we see one shot that looks like this, like there's this little kid looking at what almost looks like a post-apocalyptic landscape type thing, right? And they're saying that kid's name is, the official description of the image says it is a kid named Casa. Around 6 years old, played by a Latino actor named Casa. So,
wait, so the character is named Casa, and it's played by a person named Casa. Is that what I'm understanding correctly?
No. It's no, the kid's name's Antonio, but
okay.
But he is.
The way you said it just sounded like.
Sorry, no. So, but what's interesting about that is that makes me wonder if this is actually a flashback to Cassian as a young child. As we know, Cassian's parents were separatists.
Right, yeah. Which would be a very interesting viewpoint that I don't think we've really gotten very much.
Also, Diego has the famous line, "I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old."
Mm-hmm.
And so, basically, I think this is set up for that, which means we're most likely going to see some battle from the Clone Wars
Oh,
in live action.
That would be so awesome.
Which also means we could get some Jedi just for a little bit. Ooh. We could get a Jedi, right?
I mean, it is not an impossibility at all.
We could get a Jedi.
And what would be very cool is, like I said, he's talking about we've been in this fight since we're 6.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool to see it through the eyes of a separatist, as the Jedi, like we're always the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? As the Jedis are coming in and they're fighting for the Republic, and so you're seeing it from a separatist viewpoint, because we got a little bit of that in the Clone Wars.
Yes and no, but because we know he actually joins the rebels at this point. So to me, I don't think he would see it as a enemy type scenario. But this is getting crazy, okay? But what if they had Obi-Wan and Anakin? Let's just do it. Come on, throw them in there. They're already been doing stuff lately.
Yeah, they already made the show. Come on.
Just do it. Okay?
That's what people want. I just feel like people would be like, oh, well, that just, it takes away from the whole...
No, people would go insane.
Blah.
If there was just a short, brief scene where you get Kenobi and Anakin in their Clone Wars armor, and little Diego's there, and he sees them... I'm telling you,
like just in the background, like they're kind of like,
it doesn't have to be much
liberating.
Just, they're just there fighting. Do it. But yeah, going forward, yes, we do see whatever his name is, Saul Guerrera. He's there. That's cool. I think that's great that we're gonna get more of him. You never know what his hair is going to be. Is he going to be bald? Is he going to have lots of hair? It's always a toss-up.
Exactly. Is he going to have like braids?
You never know. But again, like you said, there's not really a whole lot to technically say about what we're seeing here. We do get to see Mon Mothma. As we know, she's going to play a pretty important role within this, as she's essentially building up the rebellion. And I think we're gonna get a lot of political, interesting stuff here.
Yeah, and so one of the big things that Rogue One did that set the precedence, that really no other Star Wars media has done up to that point, was that it gave a very gritty, very average person look. But even then, it was still very military based, right? The beginnings of the rebellion and all of this stuff, right? So you're still getting that, but this one even goes further, and it shows like riots and people in the streets and just common people. So it's going to be very interesting to really get down into the nitty gritty, right? And see people's perspective who have no military exposure, who have no affiliation with Jedi or Sith, or anything like that. So it'll definitely be interesting for sure.
Yeah, and it's just again, this series doesn't have all of the fan power behind it with all of the star-studded cast of it does have don't get me wrong, it has a lot of great actors in it, but I mean
big names,
big Star Wars characters that you already know and love, right? Like there's a couple that we know here, but they're not like Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi levels of fame. And so they have to knock this out of the park with the story, with the setting. And I think that they really have a chance to do that. Because essentially what we have here is a Star Wars Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what this can be.
I can see that.
It's this tug of war for control between the Empire and the birth of the rebellion here, as we're gonna see them. As Mon Mothma, I think she's gonna be an Imperial senator.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But we know, of course, that she doesn't agree with it, and she's building a rebellion. Along with others like Bail. I guarantee we're gonna see Bail in this.
Oh, that's
they haven't shown him, but
mind.
He's got to be in it, right?
Come on,
it would make no sense if he's not. So, so I think there's just a lot of really interesting stuff we can build up here, and just appreciate not only Rogue One, but just the rebellion as a whole even more, because we're gonna see the things they go through and do to get to that point. So I'm really excited for it now. I'm really looking forward to it. And now here's a couple other things about it that came along with the trailer, and that is it's now debuting with 3 episodes instead of 2.
Right. Yes.
But
yeah,
the date has changed.
Yeah.
No longer on August 31st. It's now on September 21st. So that is a bummer. We thought we were right around the corner. It's still gonna be here before you know it. But I do have to believe that maybe they decided to do that because of She-Hulk.
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah. They are really wanting that to blow up.
Because here's the thing: they had Kenobi and Miss Marvel overlapped, and I think that hurt Miss Marvel quite a bit because I think people were still so excited about Obi-Wan Kenobi that, like, I know me, and I think a lot of others were like, well, we're gonna watch Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll get to Miss Marvel later.
Oh yeah,
and so I think they're trying to avoid that. Mm-hmm. Now both shows I think will still overlap, but I think it's going to give them more time to get settled in with She-Hulk.
And if you would like to know more about our thoughts and opinions on Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and all other Marvel things, please go and subscribe to our Patreon and listen to our most latest and other stuff episode where we talk exclusively about all of the new Marvel releases.
Oh, good plug. I like that.
Now back to the show.
Ooh, I like it.
Little stinger for you.
Very good. But anyways, we're gonna push on from here. Again, if you haven't watched the trailer, go watch it because it truly is just wow, just fantastic. This political spy thriller set in the Star Wars universe. And it's just it looks phenomenal. Now, will it be phenomenal? I don't know.
We shall see.
But stick with us, and we will let you know.
Absolutely,
we will definitely let you know.
All right. So our next news piece is a kind of a double header here, and that we got some announcements here on two different comic series that are coming up. Number one, that is Marvel Star Wars' Hidden Empire, and then the second being Marvel Star Wars' Revelation. Of course, Andrew is our resident book and comic guy, so he's going to be able to deep dive on that better than I will. But Marvel Star Wars' Hidden Empire, from my understanding, and Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the kind of the finale. This is the conclusion to the Kira storyline that we've been getting. Kira being the character we see actually right in Rogue One, and that is the one gal who takes over the Crimson Dawn. Well, I guess she doesn't do that in the movie, but she does it in the comics. So Drew, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so what we're seeing here is kind of like the end game to Kira's arc. She came back in War of the Bounty Hunters, and she orchestrated a plot to bring Crimson Dawn back to the forefront by stealing Han Solo, still frozen in carbonite.
Nice.
And then after that, we got Crimson Reign, which saw her begin a galactic shadow war between the major crime syndicates, forcing the attention of Emperor Palpatine, and her end goal of all this being the eradication of the Sith, actually.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing here now is the end of this whole arc for Kira called Hidden Empire. And this will be is designed to deliver the big finale to Kira's story. And they did say, at least this phase of it, so don't necessarily anticipate her death just yet. There might be more to it. But this is kind of the end game for her plan to eradicate the Sith. And it's brought players from all over the Star Wars universe, from Darth Vader to Dr. Aphra to the Knights of Ren even.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool. And they do say that, Kira's story is a tragedy. It's a tragedy. But in a good way, they say.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to take that, but... So... Hidden Empire will continue the trend that the War of the Bounty Hunters and Crimson Reign did, where it's taking all the current running Star Wars comic books. So that's Star Wars, Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra, Bounty Hunters. They're all gonna continue to work together to tell the full story of this Hidden Empire.
Gotcha.
And of course, then you'll still have the main Hidden Empire comic as well. So there's a lot of comics to read there, and it's been really good so far. So I'm excited to see this. But the other thing here is that they are going to have direct connections here to both The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and beyond, as we have been kind of set after. The Empire Strikes Back for a while now. We're getting ever closer to reaching Return of the Jedi. And so, of course, when that does happen, I don't know what Marvel plans to do. I assume they'll jump forward after Return of the Jedi and continue telling stories set after those trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
That's just my prediction. They have not officially confirmed anything there yet. But along with that that series, they did also reveal another series, and this is Star Wars Revelations. Now, Revelations is very interesting. It's a special one-shot coming in November, and it's promising to point to the future of Marvel's Star Wars line, which, as I said, is currently set after The Empire Strikes Back. The tale finds Darth Vader seeking out the Eye of Webbish Bog on Mustafar. Webbish Bog will be interesting to those of you who knew Trevorrow's scrapped script.
Yeah, that's
going
a throwback.
All the way back to one of our very first episodes.
That
I think
was
it was
like
second.
Yeah, second or third. Yeah, I was gonna
say. If you go back and listen to that, we talk about the Eye of Webbish Bog on Mustafar. And so, anyways, this is bringing that character in here. It's a mysterious creature strong with the Force, and a tale that will tease the direction for Marvel's various Star Wars series. Now, we all know that the Force can be used to glimpse the present, the past, and possible futures. Well, the Eye is going to show Vader all of the above, including moments that will be coming into play in 2023 all across the Star Wars line. It's our clever way of giving readers a preview of what everyone has up their sleeves for next year, but this isn't a 40-page movie trailer. It's a real Star Wars story with Vader at the center. So I am personally pretty excited about that. I think that sounds really cool. And to start to see some of the big things we can expect within 2023 is exciting. We also know that, we're getting a Yoda series soon. Excited about that as well.
Yeah.
And so, Marvel Star Wars comics just continue to knock it out of the park. I'm telling you. It's some of the best Star Wars content you can get is what Marvel has been doing with Star Wars comics. It's been fantastic, and it's not been a waste of your time. They really do tell some fantastic stories in furthering the universe in very significant ways, important ways. So make sure to check those out when they come.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, again, Drew has been a lot more into it than I have. Not because I'm disinterested, just because I just haven't. But I will tell you that any of the ones that I have read, like I read the Darth Vader line, right?
Yeah,
and that was just
the first one.
Yes,
or was it both of them?
Actually, I read both because
there was the one that was set after A New Hope, and then there was the next one, Darth Vader, Lord of the Sith or something, which was set
the one where he thinks he finds his wife.
Okay, yeah, so that's the one that's set after, in between 3 and 4.
Yeah. So anyway, but what I've read has been incredible.
Yeah,
it's been incredible. So, and so, long story short, regardless, if it's a story that interests you, I would just go ahead and do it because I guarantee you you're gonna probably enjoy it. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So going into our next story is that Lucasfilm Games will appear at Disney or D23's Game Showcase. Will spotlight Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. So D23 announced that they're having a Disney and Marvel Game Showcase on Friday, September 9th. It's going to be live at D23. There's, of course, a lot of games that we know are tied to this, including Disney Mirrorverse, Avatar, Aliens, Dark Descent, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Disney Dreamlight Valley, Marvel Snap, Disney Speedstorm, but also Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Yeah.
And there's also some other Star Wars games that we haven't heard about. But what we know for a fact is they did say that fans can expect new reveals from Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. So my question to you about this is, do you think that we are going to get a substantial new add-on to Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga? Are we talking more characters?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I will say this. As we both know, there was a pretty substantial, what's the word I'm looking for? A pretty substantial, enthusiasm. It's not the word what I'm thinking of, but you know what I'm saying, for this game when it came out.
Yeah.
Everyone was excited for it. Everybody wanted it. Everybody, some of the sales we talked about on previous episodes, were insane for a Lego game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like to keep that momentum going. Well, so let me back up first. I could definitely see it just being skins and maybe a new map or whatever. But but we have so much, right? We have so much content that can be explored throughout the Star Wars universe, right? We have, obviously the Clone Wars stuff, the Rebel stuff, in terms of storyline. We, of course, have all the Mando stuff. We have, so many things that they, obviously, when we're going with just the main saga, we're not tapping into. So my point is that obviously at this point in time, the game's not nearly as hyped as it as it once was. And I feel like this is the big flagship Lego game that, like, this is it. I mean, this is the complete, not complete saga, right? But the Skywalker saga, right? This is everything. So I could definitely see in D23 that they're going to drop, like, maybe a whole new storyline, like the Clone Wars missions or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
So here's my thoughts. I think that I'm setting my expectation of, here you're going to get some Andor characters.
Yeah, right.
And you're going to get some Bad Batch Season 2 characters. You know what I mean?
Congratulations.
Like, that's what I'm setting my expectation for. However, I am with you 100% that if they really want to get people excited and they really want to do something cool, let's continue to expand this. And here's the thing: don't get stuck on the Skywalker saga.
Exactly.
Okay? Don't get stuck on that title being in this game. And I'm afraid they might, where they're like, well, but is this, if we would put this in it, is it still part of the Sky?
In my opinion, the whole point of this game is it's everything. Like it's like anything that Star Wars should be. So in
let's make this game the hub for all of new Star Wars Lego stuff to branch out of. So yes, we have the Skywalker saga. That's awesome. But now let's throw in some Clone Wars. Maybe do kind of similar to what they did before, but like now the Clone Wars is complete. So let's throw in like some of the best episodes.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And make levels out of that. And you know what? Hey, let's do Rogue One. Let's throw Rogue One in there. Let's do Solo. Let's do the movies. Okay. Let's throw in the other two movies. Make things of those, and then why not do the Disney Plus series? Why not do Mandalorian? Why not do Obi-Wan Kenobi? Like, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, it's a no-brainer of release these. Make however, depending on the how big the expansions are, maybe $20 for the new expansion, whatever, as you release parts of it. But like, do as what a lot of video games are doing now, where they're like, okay, we're releasing this game and then we're going to build upon it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, this is where you come back to see more of this game. That's what most games are doing.
Hub,
it's a hub, but it's like a live action type, or not live action, games as a service, right?
Right.
It's kind of that kind of thought of like, okay, Lego Star Wars, this is the game or the app, you can even say, that you're going to click on to then experience new Star Wars stuff as it comes out.
Right.
So like a movie we don't even know about yet, you're going to be able to come back to this game and play that new movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what this should become.
Well, and I think,
but I'm afraid that's not what it's going to be.
Right. And I think if they want it to continue to be active, I mean, here's the thing. Like, one of the best proponents of that style is Destiny, the game Destiny.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're the one that really pioneered that, in my opinion. I mean, there's games that have done that, but Destiny 1, Destiny like D1 was that game.
Yeah.
Their original plan was this going to be a 10-year game. Their original plan was that this is going to last for 9 to 10 years, and that you would keep coming back to the same game. But yet, by the time that it rolls around 2-3 years later, it's almost like a different game because there's so much new stuff. And so eventually, and I can't remember what the decision was, but eventually they decided to make a Destiny 2.
Which actually was more on the side of Activision.
Yeah.
That's going into a whole thing. But.
Yeah, this is Star Wars. This is not and other stuff, so I don't want to get too crazy. But the point is now, if you played D2 or Destiny 2, I mean, literally, if you played the first season, if you want to call it that, they don't really do seasons, but anyway. But you know what I'm saying, if you played the first couple months of the game and then you came back now, like, it's not even the same game.
Right. So now you can't even go to some of the same places. They've deleted whole.
I mean, they literally deleted parts of the map. I mean,
they've taken out whole planets.
Yeah, and whole planets. Yeah. So I guess my whole point is that that is kind of how it's trending in the market for games to be relevant long term and make more money and blah blah blah.
Right.
And I think they'd be stupid not to do it.
Well, yeah, because you can make smaller doses of content that can come out quicker than a whole new project.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can still charge money for it as long as it's something that the fans want to consume or want to play. And yeah, so to me it's an absolute no-brainer. Unfortunately, I don't feel very confident that that's the route they're going to take. Unfortunately, I feel like this is going to be they're going to release some characters for a while, then they're going to close the chapter, and we'll see another Star Wars Lego game, and they'll do all this again down the road sometime.
Which doesn't make sense, right? Because the whole point of this game is like it was the last.
Well, I hope I'm wrong, because they have a very big open world. They could continue to add worlds. They could make it the engine itself. It's good enough that it can last for a while.
Oh yeah,
it looks great.
Yeah,
it plays great. So just add the new story content, and we're good to go. I really
say for a Lego game, it's a phenomenal engine. I mean, obviously, if you try to plug in some more like lifelike realistic, it might not hold up. But man, for Lego, I mean, that could last years and years. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So, anyways, Warner Brothers, if you're hearing us,
yeah.
You know what to do.
You know what to do.
Or wait, is it still Warner Brothers? It is, right?
I think so.
Or
it was Telltale.
Well, no, it is it. So it's I don't know how it works anymore.
TT Games.
Well, I know that they're the ones who developed it, but it's still Warner Brothers that is producing it.
I don't know how.
Or is it just Lucasfilm?
Oh yeah,
games
so
now?
publisher is Warner Brothers. Developers are TT Games.
Publisher is still Warner Brothers. Okay, that's what I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that are going to actually make the shots on that. I mean, the developers may want to be making more for it, but in the end, it's going to be up to the publishers if they want to spend the money.
Yeah.
So this is our request right here. If they announce, a new levels for the game, okay, new content from whenever in Star Wars, they announce that. It's up to you, all of you listeners right now, to go and buy it so that many of us that can go and buy it so that they'll want to continue to do it.
Exactly.
Because I think it would be great.
And if that's what happens, Warner Brothers, bring us on as advisors to anything Star Wars.
Yeah, give us all your money.
Yeah. I will take it. So, last but not least on our news, we're going to go ahead and go with Star Wars Visions. So, those of you who may not be familiar, I think it was it last year or was it 2020?
I think it was last year.
Yeah, it was. Last year, 2021, Star Wars did a very interesting project called Star Wars Visions, in which they approached some of the quote-unquote best Japanese animators in Japan. Imagine that. And they kind of tasked them to create their own basically Star Wars episode and in their own style. And so it was very interesting. It was very fresh, very new. It was something that we've never really seen before. So it was a moderately, I'd say, a relatively decent hit, I guess, with people. Maybe more of just the novelty rather than them liking. Anyway, point I'm trying to make is that they're creating a second volume. But what's very interesting is that the executive producer actually addressed his decision to take volume 2, in his words, global. So again, as those of you who are familiar with it and heard what I just said, Volume 1 was exclusively basically anime, right? It was Japanese animators creating episodes in their own style, but now he says they're taking this volume in a more global direction. So basically the animation style, they're going to get people who are not just Japanese animators, is essentially what he's trying to say. But Drew, you got more on that for us?
Yeah, so at Celebration, we knew that it was confirmed there that they were going to be going forward with a second season of Star Wars Visions, but that it would not just be animators from Japan. So we know there's going to be from the United States, Chile, Ireland, the United Kingdom, Spain, France, South Africa, India, and South Korea. Are all going to have episodes within this next set of shorts. And so he went on to say that the first anthology is anime because we all loved the style of it. But personally, my intention for Visions was to always let it be a more broad palette because there's so much great animation work going on in the world. There's so many interesting voices and all sorts of other mediums that are rarely focused on animation right now, and we really wanted it to be, in a way, a sub-brand that allowed for different creators to come celebrate Star Wars from their own unique cultural perspective. And the guiding light there was that we wanted their storytelling to be a reflection of what Star Wars meant in their culture, but also a reflection of the myths and stories that could only come out of their cultural context. So, I will say, this is far more intriguing to me than the first season. As I have said many times, I am not a huge anime fan at all. Anime, the art style of anime just bothers me to no end. And I know I'm upsetting people. I mean, there's some people that are like convulsing right now of hearing me say that, because I know some devoted anime fans. And I know, like, the people that love anime, like, they love anime. Like, they will like devote their lives to it. You know what I mean.
See,
though. Like,
but here's the thing. This is, I think that you're attributing too much. Like, it's like a cultish thing. You have I feel like you have a bit of a bias against it, though. Like, you have this idea of what it is, and that, like, you don't like the subculture of it rather than the animation style. Because as we saw with Volume 1, there's tons of different animation styles.
Yeah, I didn't like any of them.
Oh,
I didn't like any of it.
Guys, he's biased. It's okay.
I didn't like any of the art styles in that. They were all, in my opinion, not very good.
Wow.
Now I can understand I can appreciate the effort put into them. Okay, but as far as like
when I see you didn't even like Ronin.
Ronin, no.
Oh my god. Wow. All right. Well.
No, I can't get over the crazy woman in that. She's got like what does she even have on her head? I don't know. It was crazy. Whatever it was.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't remember either, but it was just crazy. No. Again, I can, like, the Ronin, it seemed kind of like a cool character, but like it was like the Star Wars version of Samurai Jack.
Wow. Just because he's Japanese. Wow.
No. But anyway, no, it doesn't matter. My opinion on anime doesn't matter. We're getting off subject here.
Anyway, so I will say this. So leading off on the subject, leading off this certain specific subtopic here, that's where they're going to probably mess up a little bit, because, in my opinion, as someone who knows what this is, as someone who knows what the executive producer has a vision for, blah blah blah, they have not branded it in the way that they're wanting to lead it. The whole novelty of Visions was that it was an anime series of Star Wars. Like, that's probably what brought a lot of people who watched it into it. Because there's, unfortunately, a vast majority of people who don't like Star Wars animation. Like, whatever that may be, right? Clone Wars, Rebels. And they're missing out on so much stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is that just the novelty of saying, oh, they're making an anime Star Wars series, I feel like that probably even drawed some people in. Mm-hmm. But clearly, what the executive producer is saying makes a lot of sense. It's really cool seeing the individual influences of culture about Star Wars, but that's not. I don't feel like that's how they really marketed it, or at least that's not where it's at this point. So I feel like if they really push that home, that could be cool, and I think that would draw some people in. But the way it is now, that's like, oh, it's Star Wars anime, and now it's not anime anymore. Like, what I'm saying?
Well, yes, I do know what you're saying, but I feel like watching Star Wars Visions Volume 2, I mean, it's probably still a lot of it's probably gonna still kind of be like anime, right? I mean, when I think of, well, for example, like, I think what would be interesting is to go and look up the popular animation style for each of these countries, just to get an idea of what's popular there. What kind of shows are they creating? And that would probably kind of give you an idea. But I imagine in a lot of ways, it's still all going to be very reminiscent of what we get out of anime.
So basically, are you saying that anything that has an irregular animation style, is that what you're referring to?
Yes and no.
I
mean, so Well, for example, you just said a lot of the anime that we get, it's all different, even though it's anime, right?
Right.
So it's called anime because it's part of the Japanese culture, right?
Right. It's part of anime, like that's an actual Japanese word, right? I mean, I don't claim to know all that, but my point is
But
like,
there are still,
it's
but
just
there are
saying like
still
Japanese animation.
Right. So there are still different animations within that. So
Sure,
what I'm saying is, even though yes, a lot of what we got was Japanese anime, what we're going to see within this, a lot of it might still look similar art styles that are from different countries. It's just technically not called anime because it's not from Japan.
Yeah, we'll see. I think what he's wanting though is more of, again, because I think what a lot of people thought is that, again, this is Star Wars, but in a certain animation style or field of style. But what he's saying that he wants is that he wants Star Wars not inherently in a certain animation field or field of style, but he wants it more of like the interpretation of what Star Wars means. So it could be plain Jane regular animation, like realistic detailed animation, but yeah, at the end of the day it's more about like in Ireland, so they have like Gaelic warriors in the 13th century, but it's Star Wars, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I feel like that's a little on the nose, but you see what I'm saying? I think that's what he's wanting more, so we'll see if that happens.
I mean, we'll see. It's supposed to air in spring 2023, so we should be getting trailers for that.
We need to move on. We're 51 minutes into our news. So,
well, it's kind of, the news kind of is our show today. We have,
I don't know, we have a very extensive community discussion.
We do have a very extensive community discussion, but we're not doing a main topic today. So, you guys get a little treat for all of you. So next in our news here, we'll bring this up actually, this is not news. This is rumors. Sorry, I'm getting all scatterbrained.
So this is rumors.
This is our rumor for today. It says Embracer Group seemingly confirms developer change for Knights of the Old Republic remake. So Embracer Group just bought a ton of video game developers. Okay, so they bought a ton. They own tons of games now, tons.
Yeah,
and so that's a whole nother conversation that we won't really go into here because that's not really important. But what is important about it is within this report about this, this was said. One of the group's AAA projects has transitioned to another studio within the group to ensure the quality bar is where we need it to be for the title. We are not expecting any material delays for the title based on this transition. So, looking at this, one of those developers that they have bought is Aspire. Mm-hmm. Which, as you guys know, has been the ones who have been making the Knights of the Republic remake, and as we I think reported on last episode, that there were some issues going on with that development, and that it was being kind of rethought out and may not ever even appear.
Yeah, it was indefinitely delayed.
And so what we're seeing here is that potentially this AAA project that has transitioned to another studio might be the Knights of the Old Republic remake, because when you look, even though they own a ton of video game companies now, there's not too many AAA projects with reported trouble as far as under their huge umbrella that we know of. So there's a lot of people, a lot of very smart reporters out there that know their stuff that are saying that this is almost definitely the Aspire Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Yeah.
And they're saying they think that the Embracer held Saber Interactive, which is the direct owner of Aspire Media, will take over the project with its own development team.
Interesting.
So to give you guys kind of an idea, Saber Interactive's recent output of video games have been World War Z and Evil Dead the game. Two games that have done decently well Especially, I think World War Z did pretty well. However, both of those games are very, very far from what you would expect out of Knights of the Old Republic.
Right.
Not saying they can't do it, but it is a lot different. So, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I think there's probably good chances that this is the case, but I think that the idea of it not having any delays due to this is crazy.
Yeah, and that's optimistic. Of course, that's like a publisher. Like that's how it always works. That's how it always works. That's how games in our modern day. That's how it always works with publishers / marketing teams. Is that they promise this, they promise that, promise this, and then the developers are like, "Bruh, like
how
what?
are we gonna do that? Yeah.
How is that gonna? That's literally not possible."
Publishers will these days will literally announce a game with a date, and then like a week later will delay it, and they don't care.
They just want to get that headline out there. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
But inadvertently, they're literally weakening their brand by literally doing stupid stuff like that. But anyway, digress. But yeah, so those of you who are excited about KOTOR remake, there's maybe some light at the end of the tunnel in regards to this. Because we went from being indefinitely delayed to this might be picked up again, and with a new publisher and new developers and all this stuff. So
let's go straight into our upcoming releases. I think we can skip our other rumor that we had.
Yeah, wasn't that good anyway.
Important. We don't really care about it. We're going to talk about it anyway. So we're going to go straight into our releases, and we do have some stuff coming up here for you guys. So we'll go and dive into that here. So we have Dr. Aphra issue number 23. That'll be coming out on Wednesday. Also, Darth Vader issue number 26 will also be out on Wednesday. So some exciting stuff there. On the 31st, we're getting Obi-Wan issue number 4. And yeah, that's it. That's all the releases that we have. I will say that The Princess and the Scoundrel just released on Tuesday, and I have it. I'm reading it. So far, I'm enjoying it. It's been good so far.
Has it made you want to go see the Halcyon?
So, interestingly enough, haven't got to a point where they go there yet.
Really?
Interesting. I'm pretty sure it's like confirmed that they do go there, right? Like, I think that's what it's
well,
talked about.
yeah, because I got the email. It says you're invited, your wedding invitation, and it says on the Halcyon.
So far has not went there. I'm not like super far into it yet, but very excited for that to see where they go with that book.
Yeah,
enjoy it. Well, I'll talk about it more when I'm done with it. I will also say real quick that I did finish Padawan. And I was pretty disappointed with it.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, I think.
Really? That's too bad.
Yeah. Some creative decisions there was not a fan of at all. And also the story was just kind of, it was okay.
It was okay. Yeah.
I don't really have much to say more than that. But yeah. So I guess we'll get straight into our community discussion that you got there for us.
On less depressing news here. Now, so guys, we're going to move into our final thing for this week, and that is our community discussion. And those of you who may be aware or not aware, I guess, that is when we come to each and every one of you with a single question, and we ask it, and we're going to go ahead and discuss your answers live on air. And then at the very end, kind of like summate everything and go over our opinions as well. So one of the fun little series we've been doing here for our community discussion is going over common Star Wars debates. And so here comes another classic Star Wars debate for you. And that is in the 2004 DVD re-release of Return of the Jedi. There were many changes that happened, many of which were CGI based. But probably the most controversial being the addition of Hayden Christensen as Anakin's Force Ghost rather than Sebastian Shaw, which was the original actor that played him. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think that it should have remained Sebastian Shaw, or do you like that it was Hayden Christensen instead? And I didn't post this necessarily late, but I posted it today as we're recording, and usually we get like 2 or 3, and we just go over the 2 or 3. We got 7 answers, so
yeah, thanks guys.
You guys
we really appreciate y'all coming in like that.
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate it, but second of all, you guys are passionate about this clearly. So, and most of the comments are like several sentences long here, so awesome, we love it. So, we're just going to go in order as we receive them, and then we're not really going to talk about them much until we get to the end because there's so many. So Corey Allen Y says, I feel like to go with the rest of the story, Hayden was the right choice. He was and still is the future of the Star Wars universe as Anakin and Vader. David Gill says, every time we see a Force ghost, they are always in the form that they were last seen. Obi-Wan, Yoda, even Qui-Gon. So I think the same should be for Anakin. He should be seen as the last form that was on the light side of the Force. To Luke, that would have been Sebastian Shaw's character. If it would have been Obi-Wan seeing it, then Hayden Christensen. That is I said I wasn't comment, but that is something that I was going to say later on. Very cool comment, David. So anyway, Philip Mehurin says, I personally feel like they should have kept it Sebastian Shaw. The reason I say that is because any other time that we see a Force ghost, the individual always looks the way that we had seen them last. In this instance, the last time we saw Vader, it was the older version played by Sebastian Shaw. If they were going to change out Sebastian Shaw with Hayden Christensen, then why not switch out Sir Alec Guinness with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan? It just seems a bit inconsistent, but that's just my personal opinion. And you know what, Philip? That's the beauty. It's all opinions, baby. Kelby Smith says, so I feel like it was a bad choice. I think that... Oh, I lost my place. Here we go. I think what would have been a better choice would be a flashback montage of Anakin's life after Luke takes off Vader's helmet as he is dying. This would show the headlights of his journey, or his highlights. I'm reading too much here. His highlights of his journey, his rise as a Jedi, his fall to the dark side, the realization that he had children as Vader, and then ultimately the love as a father that saved him. Possibly even had a Force ghost of Obi-Wan appear to him as he was dying, then have Sebastian Shaw appear as himself. It would have been better storytelling, in my opinion, and would have tied up some of the loose ends concerning Force ghost abilities. Josh and Birkinshaw, JB, says, should have kept Sebastian Shaw. However, I believe if they knew they were going to bring Hayden back, they might as well have kept him in. Used Hayden as they have young Vader. Personally, it doesn't really bother me, but if I was Sebastian, I might well be annoyed at losing my royalties, which, unfortunately, I don't think Sebastian Shaw cares anymore because I think he's dead. So maybe his family might care. His family might care. James Greer says, personally, I think it was a fine addition. It pulled the prequels into the original trilogy. I think it's fun to watch the older versions with Shaw and the original Han and Greedo exchange, etc. But when you watch the Blu-ray versions or with higher quality than VHS, I think it's fun to see tiebacks to the prequel like this and the celebration on Naboo by the Gungans. And then last, but not least, short and sweet, Mr. Brandon Dukes, as usual, says, long live the Dark King, Hayden Christensen. That is all, boys. Classic Brandon.
Classic
Love it.
Dukes.
Mr. Dukes. But of the Dukes. So we have a varying array of opinions here, right? There's some who thinks that it was good that they brought in Hayden. There's some who thinks it's bad and they should have left Sebastian Shaw. Now, Drew, I don't know about you, but I have held both opinions in different times of my life.
All right.
And now where I sit is somewhere in the gray, a little in the middle on both. So I can definitely see both sides. And again, funny enough, I had this answer before I even read David's comment, and it's very similar to what he said. So just looking at it from my perspective on both sides, right? So Sebastian Shaw. At the end of the day, that is who was originally in there. That was who played him. That was originally in the movie. So it just felt weird that they would have taken this guy out who you would have never seen otherwise. And then all of a sudden now we're replacing him with this younger actor. And as many people have said, right, at the end of the day, we see the people as Force Ghosts as they were right when they died, as long as they were with the light side, right? And we do know, right, on the Death Star, when Anakin is dying, we see him take off his mask. He turns back to the light side, and it was Sebastian Shaw. So part of me thinks, yes, I do think that at the end of the day, it should have remained him because of just that fact alone. But I can see it on the other side too, right? I can see it, bringing in Hayden, because at the end of the day, they just filmed all of the prequel trilogy, so it's fresh on people's minds.
Right.
And it does, as I can't remember who all said it, but there was a couple people who said it does kind of nicely tie in the prequels, and it does all this. So I get that. And secondarily too, people could extrapolate whatever the thought that yes, although Anakin did turn back to the light side at the end, the form that he took on was before all of the corruption and before all of the evil, and therefore it's kind of the lighter side of him. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, that makes sense too. But I think I have come to some weird middle ground, and it's so funny because David basically said exactly what I was going to say, and that is the Force is not one-dimensional, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, the Force is like the entire fabric of the universe in Star Wars, and it can, my opinion, almost be whatever it needs to be. And I like that idea, is that whenever we see Sebastian Shaw, that was what Luke and some of these, original trilogy characters would have seen, because they would have never known what Anakin looked like. And then secondarily, Obi-Wan, Yoda, some of these guys, they would have never seen him older. So it would be interesting to think that, the visage of the Force Ghost changes to the individual that's viewing them. And I like that thought. To remain in continuity, yes, I do like the idea of it being Sebastian Shaw, but I do think that that is a very kind of one-dimensional way of thinking, and I feel like the Force can do a lot more than that, So yeah. I have more I could say, but Drew, what do you think?
Well, I think everybody together has covered a lot of the different opinions and thoughts on it. But I think, that when George Lucas changed it, it was very controversial, and I had a lot of issues with it for a long time, for again, a lot of the reasons people were stating, like, doesn't add up, doesn't make sense, doesn't line up with everything else that we've learned about Star Wars and everything. But at the same time, yeah, seeing Hayden Christensen there is kind of cool, and it is a nice way to tie it in, but again, it never really made a whole lot of sense. And I like what you and David both were talking about there. But what I will say, and that I know is a canon, is that we learn in, I believe it's from the book From a Certain Point of View. I believe it's the New Hope one, but maybe it's the Empire Strikes Back one. But we get a story there talking about Force ghosts, and within that, they do mention that a Force ghost can choose their appearance.
Really? I didn't know that.
So a Force ghost can change their appearance to kind of what they want to be, what they want to appear as. So with that,
makes perfect sense.
I believe that Anakin chose to revert back to what he looked like when he was a Jedi.
Yeah.
And you say, well, why wouldn't Obi-Wan do that? Why wouldn't he go back to when he looked young? And it's like, but I don't think
the looks, like the aesthetic looks, is what that was about, right? I mean, from what you're saying, in his heart, Anakin knew that how he looked is what, at the culmination of all of the corruption, the evil, the dark side had corrupted him to that point. He was malformed. He was, it was messed up. But in his mind, when he was truly in the light side, that's how he perceived himself. Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, of course, it's like, well, Disney just did that to fix it. Well, yeah, they did, but that's the beauty of the Star Wars story group, and what they can, they're like, oh, well, how do we fix this little weird thing? Well, let's make a story and let's write something in that kind of fixes that issue. And that's one of those things where, we learn that there is ways to kind of change appearance, and again, maybe it kind of works in the way that you and David mentioned, where it's like, maybe it is where their kind of their appearance is based off who is looking at them and talking to them, but yeah, that's my nerdy canon throw in for you guys.
And honestly, I wasn't even aware of that, to be honest with you, and I think that perfectly ties it all up right there. I mean, at the end of the day, if a Force ghost can choose its own appearance, it makes perfect sense.
Well, I wish I could tell you the exact story that it comes from. I know it's from one of the from a certain point of view books, but I don't remember which one for sure.
Well, that's really cool. Like I said, that is one merit of reading like these extra books and stuff, as long as they're canon, is that they do throw in a lot of little stuff like that really does tie in a lot of little loose ends. So there is some merit to that for sure. So we're going to go ahead and end our episode this week. For not having a main topic, we sure really went long, and that's fine, because we love getting stuff out there for you guys.
We love Star Wars.
And at the end of the day, folks, if it was just us, we wouldn't be doing this, because it is work. It is extra time and effort. Andrew does more than I do, and I appreciate that. But we both put some time and effort.
You're welcome, sir.
And long story short, I will say, though, it is because of you guys why we do it. And sometimes on little dry weeks and stuff, it's a little sad sometimes. But like this week, when we got 7 different comments on our community discussion that we posted today, awesome.
And it excites us.
Exactly.
And pushes us to do more. And so anytime you guys comment or share something, anything like that, it doesn't go unnoticed. We see
absolutely does not,
and we appreciate it more than we can ever put into words.
Yeah. So it's super exciting for us, guys, and we're so thankful for it. But again, we just appreciate you guys so much, and the support that you give to our podcast, to this brand of Jedi Eternal, right? And we just absolutely look forward to hearing from you. We hope you guys reach out to us, and whether it be in the comments or on our DMs or whatever, we just want to hear from you. But please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all these different places, right? Specifically on Facebook for weekly news and polls.
Maybe not Twitter, though.
Actually, yeah, we do. I'm not even logged into our Twitter for. I can't tell you how long.
Maybe just don't look at our Twitter.
Just don't even.
We haven't updated our Twitter in a long time, because we tried to update to Twitter for the beginnings.
Nothing.
Nobody ever.
I tried every tactic that I learned in my marketing degree.
So just stay away from our Twitter. But continue.
So our Facebook.
Yes, our Facebook. Our Facebook's where it's at, baby.
Yeah, for weekly news, polls, memes, discussions, and all that good stuff. If you want it, it's there. Please also like us and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Of course, that is where all this is coming from for the most part. But if you could, on our Facebook, on our Spotify, on our Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We would be so very grateful for that.
Yes, that helps us tremendously.
Even if it's something not totally 5-star, we'll take it, because we want to get better. We want to grow. Whatever you guys want from us.
Might hurt our feelings a little bit,
but we'll take it. It stings, but it's going to make us better. Tough love. But we thank you all so much for listening, and we ask that you join us next week for a Let's Play episode for Lego Star Wars: A Skywalker Saga, which will be so fun, and the week after that for a new podcast episode. But last but not least, may the Force be with you, and we thank you for joining.